Second only to a standard home console controller, light guns are my favorite way to play video games. And when it comes to the arcade, in my eyes, there are only two light gun series that reign supreme: Time Crisis and House of the Dead. You can probably tell which I'll be covering in this video by what time of year it is. And the title of the video. For this Halloween, I'm going to be covering the House of the Dead 2 home console port on the Sega Dreamcast. Before we start, I know what you're thinking. Craig, this doesn't look very Halloween-y. Well, I came prepared. Got some candles. Just gonna light those up. But I'm not done, I'm not done. Oh yeah, now we're ready. One of the most upfront things talked about when it comes to House of the Dead 2 is the voice acting, and yes, I know, it's bad. But I'm gonna rise above that in this review and spare you the jokes about it. Before we begin, actually, let's talk about this. This is the official light gun for the Dreamcast. It looks downright ugly. It looks like it should be uncomfortable, awkward at holding and shooting, and the design looks like it'd take you right out of the game if you so much as catch it in your peripheral vision. But none of that is true. It's something I've always found odd. It doesn't look like it would make you feel cool or badass when holding it, but it does. It feels solid in the hand, and it shoots really well. I gotta hand it to the designers of this. You certainly hit your mark. First, of course, we have the arcade mode, where the meat of the game is. The story of House of the Dead 2 is shoot shit and don't die. Or at least, that's all people really need to know. There is technically a weak story here, but it's nothing that's gonna pull at your heartstrings anytime soon. Essentially, you're a good guy, there's a bad guy named Goldman, and he wants to bring some terrible entity of power into the world, which isn't very nice, so you gotta stop him. You start out traveling by car, but end up crashing because of this little guy here. This is Zil. We'll get to more of him later. After coming to a halt, the first stage begins. And oh man, I can't express how much fun this game is. Pulling the trigger is accurate and satisfying, with enemies being just the right size and placed at just the right distances from you throughout the game to make shooting them dead feel not too easy, but also not too difficult. Throughout every stage, there are also civilians that need saving from various enemies, but you need to be quick to take a shot in order to save them successfully, so don't be too surprised if it takes you a few runs to save them all. Saving them usually nets you an extra life. Also, some civilians purely exist to die so that they can trigger little cutscenes, so don't be too bummed about them dying. Traversing through the first stage, you'll encounter many types of enemies, with plenty of varying attacks and strategies to keep you on your toes. From the standard zombie David, yes, I kid you not, to more complex enemies such as Johnny and Randy. Again, I'm not making this up. At the end of each stage, you'll encounter a boss, and the boss for the first stage is Judgment. Judgment is the combination of Zil and Carl, a 10-foot tall, headless, telepathically controlled suit of plate armor carrying an axe. That's one of the coolest strings of words I've ever seen. Just before each boss fight begins, the game will show you the boss's weak point on screen. After defeating each boss, you generally get a story-related cutscene giving some light reason as to why you're in the new environment within the next stage. But as I mentioned before, the story of HOTD2 isn't very integral to the gameplay. The second stage takes place on the streets of Venice, and there are a lot of tight spaces and quick-moving enemies in this stage, which gives a subtle sense of urgency. In between stage 2 and 3, you encounter the second boss, the Hierophant. I'm not going to cover all the boss fights in detail, as I don't want to spoil too much of the surprise. Just be assured that all the boss encounters in HOTD2 are thrilling and intense experiences, all with unique atmospheres and feeling of danger. After defeating the second boss, you start your journey through the waterways of Venice, before abruptly being stopped by another cutscene.
Yes, this is Amy.
Craig, it's for you.
It's for me? Oh. Hello?
Hi,
Hi, Schnookums, it's your mother.
Hi, Mom.
Where have you been? I've been so worried about
No,
you.
I'm just out with some friends.
The
Look, I
ones from
can't
the bowling alley?
No, the other ones.
Well, anyway, I was
Look,
thinking
Mom,
about
I
making
can't-
lasagna for dinner tonight. Is that okay,
Yes,
hon?
Mom. Lasagna's fine.
That's great, sweetie. Also,
Look, I
some
need
Goldman
to-
guy called for you.
Mom, you spoke to Goldman?
Oh, yeah, he was a charmer.
Do you have any idea what he's been doing?
He's been getting my panties wet as well.
Mom!
But he has a way with
Look,
words.
What did he say?
Something about meeting you at a coliseum. I don't remember. But listen, hon, I gotta go. I love you,
I
sweetie.
love you too, Mom.
Take care, okay?
Bye.
Bye, dumpling.
He said we have to meet him at the Coliseum. Here's your phone back.
Hey, what the fuck?
Outstanding logic! How?
After a little more boat travel, you eventually part ways with your team. Very shortly after, you encounter the third boss of the game, the tower.
And holy fuck, do I love this boss fight. This is hands down my favorite boss fight in the entire game. I don't want to spoil much about it, but imagine the 10th Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus, Doug, but with a light gun. Yeah, it's that fucking cool.
Once you get done with that, you have to maneuver through quite a short segment of Venice's underground, quickly arriving at your next destination, the Colosseum.
People of the AMS, this is a present from me to you.
A present? Oh yeah! Hey Goldman, look, I always thought you were the coolest dude. Everyone else thought you were evil. Those two, I didn't say shit about it. Look, you're a cool guy by me. So, where's the present?
Look at your right.
Well, that's going on eBay as an unwanted gift. What am I even supposed to do with— Oh, Jesus!
This is the fourth boss, the Strength. If there's any piece of advice I can give you for this fight, don't stop shooting the head, never stop shooting the head. I don't care if there's no head left or if you enter a parallel universe where heads don't even exist, keep shooting the head. Also, walls don't mean shit. The Strength don't play by those rules.
Here's Johnny!
Following your disposure of Strengthy, Harry, one of your partners, seems to be badly hurt, and tosses you the keys for the car, which becomes your next objective. Nice toss, bro! After moving through a short city segment, you hop into the car and head on a ride to your final destination. These two segments have an immense amount of military-style zombies, otherwise known as Patrick and Ricky. Patrick is the one with the hat. Do not get them confused. Up until now, I haven't really mentioned how important headshots are in helping get through certain moments of the game, but if there's any point in House of the Dead 2 where that needs to be stressed, it's definitely here. These guys are pretty tough, so make sure you aim for the head as often as possible. In between finding the car and driving to Goldman's headquarters, you have to refight Zeal and Carl. It's pretty much an identical fight as before, so it's not too difficult to handle. Just after defeating them though, you make what I consider to be one of the scariest discoveries in any zombie-themed game ever. They're fucking mobile! They can drive! Zombies that can operate vehicles. That's the most unsettling thing I've seen since I accidentally discovered the Eraserhead porn parody. Okay, I might have been making that last part up. Once you've fought off the Hierophant again, you arrive at the last location of the game, Goldman's headquarters. As soon as you arrive, there's an explosion near the top of the building, and down ascends the second to last boss, the Magician, who was also the final boss of the first House of the Dead game. He provides a very chaotic fight with rapid movements and consistent attacks using his pyrokinesis.
There isn't much strategy to the fight, but a quick trigger finger is required due to the consistency of his attacks.
Dealing with the Magician grants you access to the final stage. Traversing through Goldman's headquarters, you'll encounter quite a few new and interesting enemies. They do seem to be essentially reskins, albeit very good ones, of other enemies from earlier in the game, but there are minor differences in their attack patterns and behaviors. Following the motif of reoccurring bosses, you come across and refight the tower, but this time is much easier as the second segment of the fight has been left out altogether. Soon after, you enter Goldman's office and confront him.
I've been waiting.
Goldman! Do you know what you're doing?
I'm fully aware of what I'm doing. man committed a sin, disturbing the life cycle of nature. I have made a creature to rule over mankind. This is the final battle.
This is the final battle! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I went this entire time without any voice acting jokes, but that is just...
The final battle. Battle. Show yourself. Our new ruler, the Emperor.
So, the final fight of the game is against the Emperor. Before the fight starts, the game doesn't actually tell you what the Emperor's weak point is, it just says unknown.
I'm gonna put a picture of the Emperor up on screen here, and I want you to try and guess his weak point. I'll even give you multiple choice. Is it A, he's chest, B, he's chest, C, he's fucking chest, or D, he's left foot pinky toe? I'm gonna give you some time. Time's up. If you guess D, now you're just being silly.
The fight with the Emperor is somehow refreshing, yet monotonous at the same time. It certainly has the feel of a final boss fight, but it relies a fair bit on once again rehashing the previous bosses to keep things varied. I personally don't mind because I thoroughly enjoy all of the boss designs and behaviors, but it does come across as pretty lazy and unimaginative. The Emperor is constantly moving throughout the fight and assaulting you with his balls.
Sorry, orbs, rather.
These operate in the same way that all of the smaller enemies in the game do. Just shoot them enough times and it deters them from their path towards you. It took me some time to kill off the Emperor, but I got a really unlucky pattern where he would outright refuse to really engage me for minutes at a time. But with enough practice, you could definitely shave the fight down to just a few minutes. The final cutscene is surely something to be placed alongside Shakespeare.
Goldman!
Friends, it is not over yet.
Is that all you have to say?
In time, a successor will come. Farewell, friends.
Ah, my legs.
It's finally over. Goldman, I don't care if a successor comes or not. I'll go on fighting. Goodbye, Goldman.
Along with arcade mode, you have original mode, which is essentially arcade mode, but with some customization options, such as a machine gun, extra lives, a shotgun, a fishing line gun type thing, and primitive meat? Okay, what does that do? Oh, God, no! Your face, it's all wrong. Get out of here with your clown shoes. Christopher Walken says no. What the fuck was that? Oh, seriously, that's fucking scary though. The game also offers a training mode, which is incredibly frustrating sometimes. It's essentially a group of mini-games, I guess you could call them, which are designed to try and help improve your accuracy and speed, as well as a boss mode, which is exactly what it sounds like. You face off against the bosses of the main game for the best time. And besides the rankings page, which shows you all of the rankings for the arcade mode, boss mode, etc., that's about it for the House of the Dead 2 on the Dreamcast.
Playing through House of the Dead 2 on the Sega Dreamcast is one of my favorite gaming experiences to constantly come back to, and it is with no hesitation that I award this game 8.5 final battles out of 10.
Its visuals may not hold up to be scary, but its amazingly designed boss battles and well thought out landscapes, coupled with a thick, intense atmosphere and feeling of being alone, will definitely get your heart pumping and your pulse up this Halloween. If you have the opportunity to play House of the Dead 2 this October 31st, I'd say turn off the lights, light a couple candles, and give it a shot. There's definitely some scares still to be had here.
As always, thank you so much for sticking with me through this review. I'll see you in my next. Take care, lock your doors.